Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
It's Bobby and Stacey on the My Morning Show. Time for another edition of Ask Stacey. We have our own advice columnist, if you will, Stacey Godbold here, to answer sometimes the tough questions, but at the end of the day, just to answer your questions. Whatever you have for Stacey, you can ask at my1053wjlt.com. So, Stacey, take it away.
I'm going to be a little transparent here. The last 2 weeks, I've taken some heavier questions.
Yeah.
And I'm a little tired today, and just a little kind of. So I'm just gonna do a layup this morning. It's not really a layup because I still feel really passionate about this question.
Well, here's the thing: it's somebody wants to know it, so
that's true. But
it's called Ask Stacey.
There's some deep questions.
It's not necessarily
just not ready for those.
It's not necessarily
today.
Ask Stacey super hard question. It's just Ask Stacey, so you can ask her whatever.
So
what's the question?
Kevin asked, "What is the hardest thing that you've learned about, or to learn about radio? What's the hardest thing to learn about radio?
Because really,
or what has been the hardest thing?
You've only been on the air like every day, full time, for just over a year.
Yeah.
It was January of 2017 when you started the show, and that was really your first time being on the air every morning, doing like radio stuff. Just to give a little background before you answer the question.
So, my background is in marketing. And I started a nonprofit 6 years ago called Project Reveal. And we serve women and girls with different programming and events, kind of creating our show, trying to make them the best version of themselves. And so there's some depth there, you know. And so coming on the radio, the hardest thing for me wasn't the technical stuff and wasn't it's not necessarily a lot of work, but it's a lot of work between Bobby and I to perfect our show. We want to be great for you guys, right?
Clearly, we're still working on that.
Forever, you'll work on that, right?
Always a work in progress.
But the hardest thing for me was figuring out who I was going to be on the radio.
Okay.
And I feel like, because I felt like I had a bit of an identity crisis when I got here, because for 6 years, I was so used to speaking in depth and talking about embrace your body and talking about really hard subjects like adoption and divorce and addiction, but also some fun topics. But so then I come in here and I know that morning radio, you want to be entertained, you want to be informed, but you mostly want to be entertained, right? And so I'm thinking it was really hard, and I left many a days confused and many a months confused about who I am on this station. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, I'm just me, but you can give different versions of yourself. I am excited sometimes, but I have a lot of depth. And so I think figuring out like what my place is here has been by far the hardest part. And I just figured out that I just be me. And if I want to be really silly and talk about dumb stuff, I can do that. And then in the next second, I can talk about those hard things like embracing your body and loving yourself and being vulnerable and being true to yourself. At the end of the day, that's where I've come to. But it was that was truly hard for me, because I can't say it enough, but I just couldn't figure out like who I was and where I fit.
Well, and I think you kind of answered the question when you stopped trying to figure out who you were supposed to be, because the fact is we don't want you to be anybody but yourself. Right. Oh, that's why we wanted you on the show, is because of who you are. I was
worried that I was like, well, if I'm going to go ask, for a corporate sponsor for $10,000 to sponsor this homeless episode, and then I'm being a ding dong on the radio, like, are they going to think differently of me? And truly, like, I'm just me. And I love life and I love being excited, but I also have depth. And so I think just understanding that I'm all of those things and I can be all of those things and I can still be professional and smart really gave me a good feeling to come in every day and just be me. But that was the hardest part for me.
Well, hopefully
a little tear coming out of the left eye.
You're tearing up?
Just saw the left there's a little mist.
Okay. You just have like a eyelash in your eye?
Eyelash.
Okay. Kevin, hopefully that answered your question, buddy.
That was probably not what you wanted to hear technical, but I'm all about the heart.
You are a smart, funny ding dong. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Professional ding dong.
What?
You are a ding-dong, for sure.
I am.
So if you have a question for Stacey, whether it's silly, serious, or somewhere in between, you can submit that anytime you like at my1053wjlt.com. If you want to see past episodes, you can find those on the My1053 YouTube channel. Thanks for watching the My1053 WJLT YouTube channel. If you don't mind, please go ahead and subscribe below. Make sure you get our notifications too, so you can be the first to know when we post something new. And if you like what you saw, stick around and watch a couple more videos.